Dear stranger, I don't know what to write, so I just pull on the bevels of my laptop keys with my fingernails. I pull and pull and pull until it starts to hurt, and I stare blankly at nothing until tears well up again, and I sob so hard. I wonder if my heart is wringing itself dry. I don't know what to say, except that sometimes everything hurts so bad, I don't know what to do. My arms quake and my legs shake, and I am a puddle, I am a string, I am a prayer, wavering on existence, but never quite making it there. Hot cold burns up my arms, an elephant wakes up in my head. I can't think around it. I wonder what would happen if I just tore this elephant out and dumped it onto a stretcher and shipped it out of my brain. How would that weightlessness feel like? How do people live without that anvil seared into their mouths? I wonder what it's like to laugh without having to claw your throat open first. I should stop this here. I can feel myself slipping. I don't know. I guess I'll talk soon. I have nothing to say, even though I feel like I should end this on a positive note. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And what are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? When I wrote that letter for myself at 14 years old, I still dabbled in bedazzled hairbands and wore t-shirts with neon slogans like, "You're looking at awesome." So you can probably imagine that I was quite the rambunctious child. To be quite honest, even when I was very young, I was never really innocent in the sense that I found trouble everywhere. Or if you ask me, adventures. I was sassy. I convinced myself I was funny, tried to be punk, pretended like I was a Chinese princess. Maybe that's why people didn't seem to care when I started to disappear. Maybe I didn't know it, or maybe I somehow wanted it that way subconsciously. But the greatest trick I ever played wasn't on others, but on myself. 3 years ago, I was interviewing people around San Francisco about mental health. I went from the wealthiest districts where a one-bedroom apartment can cost more than an entire rural mansion to neighborhoods where concoctions of drugs would punch through air to assault far more than nostrils, urine staining the streets like murals. And no matter where I went, someone would always ask me whenever I asked them if I could interview them about mental health, "You're doing this because you have a personal connection? How could someone so sad be so young?" Their faces will fold in with shock, as if I blamed anxiety on the rising costs of avocado toast or, God forbid, a B on a math test. I wonder if they think the chickenpox vaccine makes children immune to trauma and exhaustion too. Apparently, human emotions are too complex of sensations to be felt by youth. But those questions, those doubts, they didn't faze me because they weren't new. I'd heard them before, not from others, but from myself. I'm a first-generation Chinese American immigrant. I'm from the rural village in the poorest province of China. I'm an ethnic minority, indigenous to our Guizhou mountains, stretching back generations, history old as the slopes, rich as the smell of rice after rain. So how could I feel so empty? How could I feel so deceiving? How could I look in a mirror and see my lips stretched wide open, yet seemingly hear my own bones collapsing? I wrote that letter I read in the beginning to remind myself that what I felt was real. Legitimate, still me, just in the midst of trying. It was supposed to stay my little secret, yet here I am reading it aloud for you all. What I know now, but I didn't know back then, was that I wasn't alone, and I'm not alone. You might know this, you might not, but the statistics around youth mental health in this country are just simply horrendous. 50% of all lifetime cases of mental illness began by age 14 and 75% by age 24. 20% of youths aged 13 to 18 live with a mental health condition. 37% of students aged 14 and up with a mental health condition drop out of school. That's the highest dropout rate of any disability group. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in the US between ages 15 to 34. And yet 80% of American youths with severe depression have no or very little treatment. If we don't fight hard, these statistics will probably get worse. As you can probably imagine, the last 10 years were a revolution. They built a different world. Technology and social media have changed everything. And the youths of today, I like to say, face new ideas that old concerns just simply can't accommodate. Instant social media perfection, body distortion, life makeovers, cyberbullying, overstimulation, desensitization, FOMO, or fear of missing out. Maybe it sounds absurd or childish. It's easy to dismiss all this as just kids caring too much about what other people have to say. It's that classic adage of, well, if all your friends did XYZ, would you do it too? But everything is relative to your baseline, right? The dinner parties of the 20s, the nightclubs of the 80s, the clout chasing of the digital 2010s. Your life becomes your relevance. Your relevance defines your worth, or so it seems. It's not that the old triggers have softened, it's that now within 2 seconds, you can look up seriously harmful information. I would know. I like to show this picture here because even though I was a troublesome child growing up, I also tasted joy. And as I go into the bits of my story, I want this picture to speak for me the 1,000 words I don't know how to say. Sometimes we are living amidst the most brilliant of light and we can't see it. We don't realize it. The hole that we are in is so dark, so deep. We can't imagine a future beyond it. But that doesn't mean that light isn't there. And when I look at this picture, I don't remember that day. I don't remember that occasion. But if I stare at it long enough, I do remember what it feels like to taste joy. And that feeling, I think, is what we all cling to sometimes. I grew up with scars. I learned what it tasted like. I learned what they felt like. But most importantly, I learned what happens when they don't go away. My story began violently. And I remember the first time I ran away from home, I was 6 years old. And I was hiding in the bottom parking garage of this supermarket complex. And I stayed there for about a week before someone found me. I just remember feeling like maybe it was this sort of magical portal, that if I just stayed there long enough, if I starved myself long enough, if I just forced myself, punished myself with this sort of self-imposed isolation long enough, then maybe I'll finally prove that I can make myself worthy of the air that I breathe and the space that I take up. I wished desperately for things to change, and things did change, but not exactly in the way that I thought they would. So when I was 9 years old, I moved with my family to the United States. And like many immigrants, we came here for that fresh American dream, which meant that we had two things working against us. Firstly, in order to start afresh, we sold everything we owned back home. The year was 2007, the recession hit, and then we lost everything. The second thing working against us is that my parents did not, and to this day, still don't speak English. Now, I will have to give credit to my mom. She has gotten a lot better with her basic English commands, but for the most part, it's not something I would say any of us would call them fluent in. Which was fine. It gave me this chance, like many other immigrant children, to feel like I have an ability to prove my worth, to contribute something, to finally demonstrate that the value I have is inherent within me. And kind of funnily enough, I remember one of my very first jobs. I was one of those people in Costco who would give out free samples, and we would all go pretending like we're going to, buy something, but then you're really not going to. You just kind of want to try it for free. Yeah, that was my job, and I did that when I was in eighth grade. And I know you can't see me now, but I'm about like 5'2" 3/4" tall. The 3/4 is very important when you're my height. And being 5'2" 3/4", almost back then as well, I was just poking my head out from behind that sampling table. So you can just imagine me, a tiny shrimp, sort of like peeking out at people and just yelling at them in my broken immigrant English to buy the freaking products. It's quite the sort of sight to think back on. And in many ways, it was fun. I mean, yes, I had to stand there for 10 hours straight a day, every single day on the weekends. And no, I couldn't hang out with my friends. Not that I really had any. Nobody wanted to be friends with the one Asian kid in school, but it felt like I was doing something. You start to wonder where you went wrong. You start to wonder what you did wrong. You start to wonder why it took you so long to just take that reality as what it is. Unchangeable, persistent, something that you deserve. When I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it transformed the pain in my life into an inescapable nightmare. Hurt people hurt people. How true is that? I know that that mental health concerns can affect anyone, anywhere, at any age and any time, but I didn't. Today, I can say easily that this is not a moral dilemma. No one chooses mental illness like they choose outfits. A textile merchant from Somalia once told me that mental health should be as normal as the rising and setting sun, that we can't afford to wait until it's our sons holding to their heads that But I didn't know that. My family grew up with intergenerational trauma. My dad has this long scar etched into his back from a childhood beating that left him alone and bleeding, not a result of hate, but a twisted, passed down motion of love. This is not unique to Chinese culture. And I want to emphasize that, East Asian, other minority cultures, they all offer tremendously powerful and unique healing structures. And so to demonize a culture is to choose ignorance. And I really am so proud of my heritage and everything that it has taught me. But as an immigrant, as the daughter of a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and doctor, stigma has a different taste. And eventually, I grew tired of washing it down with milk. In clinical practice settings, minorities in the US have been found to be less likely than whites to receive treatment that adheres to treatment guidelines. Ethnic minority and immigrant clients have been found to suspend trust of providers who are ethnically dissimilar from them until they are proven trustworthy. Asian Americans use mental health services at about 1/3 the rate of white Americans, and that fraction is similarly lower for other racial minorities in the US as well. And in many households, especially immigrant minority households, you might hear this. Mental illness is just a past sin. It doesn't exist. You're being ungrateful, spoiled, disrespectful. You should just drink some herbal tea. The pain is in the body, not the mind. And remember, mental illness, well, that's a white people thing. I try to believe that. But the thing about emotions is that they are by definition, by nature, immortal. They learn to undig their own graves. At 14, I was diagnosed with anterior uveitis, an inflammation of the eyes that popped my eyes blind for days or weeks at a time every time an episode struck. And the response whenever I used to ask for help was, and still is, always yes, and of course, and you're so strong. But even now, I am terrified of talking about mental health, afraid that if I say the wrong word, someone will tell me I'm crazy, dismiss all that I'm saying, like admitting mental illness is giving them ammunition and my voice is a target. Afraid that if I speak my truth, my story, Someone will still tell me I'm romanticizing without bothering to let me finish. Say that I'm only making things worse, that I should just shut up. Because what do I know about mental illness? What do I know about mental illness except that sometimes I see long short ropes, I see flashbacks, frostbite crawling up my thighs, my eyes glazed over my head, buried in an XL sweater, begging a God I couldn't believing to not let me pass him, to not let him see me. Am I alive? Am I alive? Am I alive still? Hurt slipped into my blood the way thunder slips into ears, by which I mean less of a slip and more of a tearing or a prayer. You know, loneliness can creep on you like old age. Sometimes in hindsight, I still find pieces of my past tossed in between the lines. Sometimes I wonder why, if I introduce mental health to the conversation, some people still take that declarations as confirmation that I don't belong in this nation, like they're waiting for me to scream, do something real normal humans wouldn't. As if mental illness warped me from person to personality, human to human disease. Are you kidding me? You know, for a very long time, nobody could figure out what the heck was going on with my eyes. We went to basically every single child ophthalmologist in the Los Angeles area where I was living at the time. We did hundreds and hundreds of tests, and every single thing came back fine. And yet I kept going blind. It wasn't until about 1 year into my college experience, when I was actually attending the NAMI National Convention, that someone came up to me afterwards, after they heard my story, and told me, hey, Diana, I'm an ophthalmologist. I'm a Vietnamese American ophthalmologist. And I was curious if you had ever thought about how psychological distress could be leading to your eye disease. Now, I had known about psychosomatic symptoms at that time, psychosomatic symptoms being physical manifestations of psychological distress, but I had never thought that something which I attributed to people like John in Sherlock, where, he's walking around with a limp, even though his leg is fine because of PTSD. I had never thought something like that could happen to me with my eyesight. As I went on through that year and I started to finally consistently get treatment for my mental health, for the first time, I went episode free. Today, I am episode free, 3 years consistent. And it's an unbelievable number for someone like me who spent half of high school in and out of hospitals. And I say this now because I wish somebody had told me back then that minorities, especially because we often come from cultures that emphasize that mind-body connection and that might extra stigmatize mental illness, we are more likely to experience these psychosomatic symptoms. And sometimes it's, a signal from your body that, hey, there's something going on up here that you're not paying attention to. So I suppose I'll have to make something wrong here so that you'll finally listen. Well, that was a journey of many years. But when I was 14 years old, I attempted suicide for the last time. And in the last moment, my little brother was the one who found me. My little brother. They say you should find your own strength and build your own light. Don't rely on anyone else. Sure. But sometimes all of our strength is spent on fighting ourselves. And in those moments, I chose to borrow someone else's light for a while, standing their glow and let it illuminate the path forward to show me that there is somewhere to go. For me, that person was my little brother. My little brother, who I practically raised as my own child due to our family situation. He called me mom. I went to all his parent-teacher conferences. I went to all his open houses. And my little brother, who would find me crawled under the bed, holding onto one of our few tattered stuffed animals. And he would look at me with those big, innocent child eyes and tell me, it's okay, Diana. It's gonna be okay. My little brother was the light of my life. So I told myself, no matter how dark my world got, I could not ever drag him down with me. So I needed to heal. But how do you heal when you are a teenager in a family that doesn't speak English, living below the poverty line, trying to navigate the freaking American healthcare system. Well, turned out there were a lot of options that I didn't know how to access. And so I ended up turning to writing. I wrote letters to strangers, to no one, yet they're for everyone at once. And as I wrote these letters, I found comfort. In words, I began to discover the miracle of life. I realized for the first time that I never was alone, that I'm not alone. The writing is humanity distilled into ink. So that's why I started Letters to Strangers. I started it when I was a sophomore in high school as a student club, and I had to bribe my friends with pizza at lunch to get them to come to our meetings. But then over time, slowly but surely, more and more people came, not for the pizza. We ran out of money for that pretty quickly, but because they believed in the mission, because they felt a human connection. And as people from nearby school districts heard about us and wanted to spread this to their schools too, we eventually grew to what it is today, the largest global youth for youth mental health nonprofit, seeking to destigmatize mental illness and increase access to affordable and quality treatment. And like the name suggests, we write letters to strangers, mainly done with student volunteers on school campus or local organizational chapters. But we also do science-based peer education and policy-based advocacy. And in fact, what I am really, really proud of is our world's first Youth for Youth mental health guidebook, which was published in November of 2019, written entirely by 14 to 21-year-olds from over 50 countries and reviewed by medical and industry professionals, covering the A to Z of mental health with a true, heavy, in-depth dive into intersectional identities. And the best part is that it's for free to download in black and white on our website. So go check it out at letterstostrangers.org if you're interested. But in any case, today we have done something that I would have never thought possible. We've impacted over 35,000 people. And if you had told me this back then, I would have just slapped myself. Like I would want to slap you because I'd be like, how dare you tell me something that's so kind and wonderful? And then I would slap myself for daring to think that you would even want to take the time to lie to me about something like this. A point being that there is so much about the future we don't know and can't tell. And that's why everybody deserves a second chance, and why I was so beyond lucky to have had that second chance. So I wanted to use it for something good, and I ended up turning to photography. I started a conceptual photography studio, and I did this whole mental health series, a self-portrait series for Minority Mental Health Month a few years ago. I'm not gonna stay too long on the photos because I want you to sort of just figure it out from your own artistic interpretation. I don't want to impose my artist understanding of it onto you. But what I will say is that I was very lucky. These photos went viral with over 2 million engagements. And that's something that I could have never, ever expected. But the one thing, that people don't really tell you about going viral is the hate comments. And I will have to say that one hate comment that particularly struck me was this one. Attention-seeking yellow beep. What do you know about mental illness? And their main concern was that, I was using all these colors, and to them, mental illness was a purely black and white sort of suffering thing. But here's the thing, that portrayal was my truth, my story. And at the end of the day, my world is not your black and white. It is my own to lead. Yes, I used colors, and they were psychedelic, they were beautiful, they were terrible, they were glorious, they were horrendous, they were the most amazing and most terrifying things to happen to me all at once. And that is my truth. And that is my story. So in the midst of exhaustion, medication, and epiphanies, I internalized that the best way to learn is through experience. Yes, I am often terrified and overwhelmed, and I wonder if I am weak, but no. Mental illness can mean battling dragons only to find their nests in our chests, but we learn to live with fire. So where is the weakness in that? How can there be weakness in that? And so today, when I go on this journey to heal, I like to go by an acronym that was developed at Letters to Strangers. Simple: self-advocate, increment, meditate, carving out that space for yourself to really let your thoughts come, process, and then go. Patience, listen, educate. And when I say listen, I don't just mean listen to sort of think about what the best response back is, but to truly listen, to realize that our role is not to be the knight in shining armor in somebody else's story. And that's a good thing. We don't have to deal with the burden of slaying the dragon by ourselves, but rather we are a companion taking on this road alongside these other people in our lives we care about as they navigate the journey to figure out how to heal themselves. At the end of the day, what matters most is restoring the dignity, autonomy, and control and empowerment back to that individual who is suffering. That could be you, that could be someone around you, but everybody deserves that chance. I started with a letter and I'll end with one here. This was a video that was filmed in collaboration with the Screen Actors Guild of New York by Letters to Strangers. And here is one actress reading a letter.
Dear stranger, I dare you to write down 10 things you love about yourself. Maybe you can't finish it all in a day. Maybe you knew just what to write, finished in less than 10 minutes. But the thing is, we don't give ourselves enough credit. I want you to remember that even when it seems like no one else cares, you should care about yourself. You should care about yourself. And I care about you too. That's 2 people already. The world is less lonely with you here. And for that, I thank you. Thank you. Love a stranger.
Thank you so much for giving me your time, your space, and your energy. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me at these different handles on social media and also my email. And if you need help or just want to talk to somebody, you can reach for additional support at these different contact points. So thank you and have a wonderful rest of your conference.
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Morris, Second Vice President of the NAMI Ohio Board of Directors. In June of 2020, the Board of Directors came together to discuss the disparities in mental health care for people of color. We met again in August of 2020 to create a social justice statement that not only identifies our position, but more importantly, will guide our commitment to enhance our advocacy, education, and support in these underserved communities. I'd like to share the NAMI Ohio Social Justice Statement with you. NAMI Ohio is the voice for all Ohioans with mental illness regardless of age, gender, race, or ethnicity, national origin, religion, disability, language, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. The impacts of structural and systemic racism on the mental health needs of Ohioans who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color are real and devastating. The emotional, psychological, and physical manifestation of trauma negatively impact the mental health and lead to mental health disparities. We believe that all individuals, including communities of color and people with mental illness, must be treated with respect and dignity to receive equitable health outcomes and full inclusion. NAMI Ohio denounces racism and racial discrimination in all its forms. As Ohio's voice for mental illness, we will take action to make change through the word and deed. We ask all Ohioans to join us to eliminate public policy and societal practices which perpetuate prejudice, stereotypes, and discrimination, resulting in inequities and mental health disparities.
The NAMI Ohio Board of Directors met on several separate occasions and had candid and sometimes uncomfortable discussions to develop this policy statement. The impact of structural and systematic racism on the mental health needs of Black, Indigenous, and people of color in Ohio is real and devastating. As Ohio's voice for mental illness, we will continue taking action to make change through word and deed. Today at this conference, I am pleased to announce that during the past 7 months, we have made funds available to our 40 affiliates to have real impact in distressed areas of our state. This commitment outlines just one way we are engaged in addressing workforce equity. As we work toward a future of workforce diversity, we believe we can have an impact on bringing people of color into the mental health workforce. Specifically, NAMI Ohio funded local communities to address mental health disparities in urban communities. NAMI Greater Cleveland, NAMI Urban Greater Cincinnati, NAMI Montgomery County, NAMI Franklin County, NAMI Greater Toledo, and NAMI Summit County, amongst others, were charged with partnering with their local faith and diverse communities to reduce stigma and break down the barriers to receiving mental health services. Projects were unique to each affiliate, meeting the grassroots needs of their respective communities. Programs and initiatives are still underway and expanding throughout Ohio. A few highlights include: NAMI Ohio is extremely proud that we have funded and supported Central State University's NAMI on Campus chapter. Central State University, a historically Black college in Greene County, has the most active NAMI on campus in Ohio. NAMI Ohio is committed to empowering our future leaders to enter the workforce where African Americans, Indigenous, and people of color are not adequately represented. It is imperative that our mental health system is served by a diverse and representative workforce representing all who need services. NAMI Greater Toledo prevented the dismantling of the Mental Health Faith Council, which addresses the needs of the faith and urban community throughout Lucas County. If not for funding provided by NAMI Ohio, the Mental Health Faith Council would no longer be able to educate faith leaders in diverse communities about mental illness and the interconnectedness of faith and treatment, nor would they be able to continue equipping both the faith and minority communities with resources and skills related to mental illness and addiction. NAMI Franklin County is expanding its mental health awareness with African American communities by partnering with local barber and beauty shops, as well as the African American Male Wellness Agency. Barbers and beauticians have a unique opportunity to provide mental health resources and education to their clientele. By arming barbers and beauticians with tools to educate their clientele, we normalize discussions about mental health and increase access to mental health services in the African American community. NAMI Greater Cleveland contracted with a consultant to develop grassroots programming in all diverse communities throughout Cuyahoga County. Programs and community outreach efforts will be led by individuals representing the populations they are serving. The overarching goal is to ensure that all communications and programming are done in a diverse, equitable, and inclusive manner. NAMI Ohio will sponsor a conference entitled, "What Works in My Community?" This conference will include workshops that will demonstrate how we can change and provide services that are needed throughout our diverse communities. Make no mistake, we have just scratched the surface. NAMI Ohio believes that mental health is a poster child for health disparities that exist throughout this state. We ask all that are listening today to help us identify the needs of these unique communities, and if possible, provide us with information about successful programs that are reaching these underserved populations. We do believe through our advocacy, education, and support, we can make an impact on communities that have been left underserved for years. Thank you. Enjoy the conference.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Duggar, Director of Affiliates and Programs here at NAMI, Ohio. I oversee our 40 affiliates across the state, ensuring each receives the support and guidance they need to be successful. This last year has been especially challenging for all of us. We all needed support that we never thought we would need. Through isolation, illness, and more, our lives have been uprooted. Not only did the way we work have to change, we had to do so while taking care of ourselves and each other. But we could not stop providing the life-saving NAMI services that so many count on. We had to adapt, and adapt we did. That's not to say this was an easy task. There was certainly a learning curve when moving from in-person groups to groups on virtual platforms, but NAMI Ohio and our affiliates met this challenge head on. NAMI Ohio ensured that our affiliates were properly equipped to transition to the virtual world, and affiliates did so nearly seamlessly. While we understand that the virtual world just isn't the same as in person, we were all committed to limiting interruptions in programming and support and education so we can continue to grow. COVID presented us with the opportunity to take a good look at the needs of those we serve and those of ourselves. Last spring, our affiliate leaders began meeting with one another via Zoom to stay connected and certainly to stay safe and not meeting in person. Meeting monthly has provided a unique opportunity for everyone to learn from one another, help one another, partner with one another, and grow as a NAMI family so we may continue to honor what is rooted in all that we do: support, education, and advocacy. As many of you know, our affiliates do have their respective regions they're charged with serving, but this virtual world has allowed us to help in ways we never thought possible. Affiliates are sharing resources with one another to ensure those who need help get help when they need the help, regardless of where they live. Our affiliates conduct more than 400 programs virtually, from NAMI signature programs to community forums, and even fun check-ins to limit isolation and have some good old-fashioned laughter. I cannot say enough about our 40 affiliates. They have stepped up for those who need help and for each other. We have kept one another accountable and successful, and will continue to do so well into the future. All of our affiliates have done an amazing job. They have continued their life-saving services and even grew through such a difficult time. This past year, our affiliates have not only survived, they have thrived. While all of our amazing affiliates deserve a chance to be highlighted here today, we'll be highlighting just a few. We'll be starting our journey with Jessica Schmidt, Executive Director of NAMI Wood County. Thank you so much. We're here today with Jessica Hartman, Executive Director of NAMI Wood County. We're excited to hear from Jessica about how she has thrived and survived through COVID. So welcome, Jessica. Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about things we were chatting about a moment ago. Tell me a little bit about what happened during COVID with NAMI Wood County.
Sure. So first of all, thanks for having us. Really kind of excited to talk about some of the things that we did here in Wood County. We learned how to transition everything virtually. And so we were able to offer all of our support groups virtually, all of our classes virtually. And then we started doing all sorts of different programming online. So we usually host like a conference in the middle of the summer, and we moved that to a webinar series online. People not able to come to the in-person support groups or classes because they might have something going on, or maybe the person that they're taking care of is in their home and they can't leave that person at home. And now they're able to go into another room and still join us for the support group. We were able to have parents log in and join us while sitting in the parking lot of their kids playing softball. We were also able to have some people from out of state join in our other programs. And like Family to Family, we were able to host and have people from other communities in Ohio join. We were able to partner with our surrounding NAMI affiliates to provide some of these support groups, which is a very cool thing. That's kind of that example of, we're not just surviving anymore, we're starting to thrive. We came out meeting all of our program objectives. We didn't have as many people as we typically have in our classes and support groups, but we were still able to access people that we wouldn't typically have been able to.
You've actually increased access to your services.
Absolutely. It was a learning curve learning it. And then we had a platform before, we like to say before Zoom became the Kleenex of tissues, before Zoom became the go-to for virtual platforms, we had a different one. So we learned that and became acclimated to how to use it, and then everybody was on Zoom, so we thought we should probably now do a Zoom membership, and so we are now all on Zoom because everybody knows that, and we're using all those features. And it is nice to have things like breakout rooms. We were in the middle of a NAMI Basics class this last week, and I had one of the participants was talking about a sensitive topic, and so I was able to set up a breakout room and step out of the breakout room and have a conversation with her about that situation. And while the teacher was able to continue teaching. So we're still able to provide support and the education in this way. It's just a little different. It just looks different.
Tell me a little bit about your self-care routine. I know that you have some things going on here at the office as well. Do you care to share?
Sure. So as far as self-care here at the office, we've made it a high priority to make sure that we're still addressing the self-care needs of all of our agency and all of my staff here, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to do all of that work to acquire the grants and to provide the support groups and the classes and things. So when we were shut down and working from home, we did daily check-ins. And part of that included, tell me about your highs and your lows and what you have going on this week. And then it kind of morphed into like spirit days. And so we had spirit days, and we had things like superhero day, Disney character day. And so we were able to dress up and have these fun, spirited themed days. So we did that while we were working from home. And then when we came back to the office, we're kind of doing a hybrid thing where some of us work, some of us are at home, and then we kind of switch days and things. But while we're still doing this, we're still having our virtual meetings. And so Monday mornings, we're doing check-ins, and then Friday mornings, we're doing check-ins. And so we're still able to have that conversation piece that you miss when you're working in person. Like, hey, how's it going? I heard that your loved one was not feeling well. I'm sorry to hear that kind of thing. We're able to have those conversations virtually, and it helps us to be productive then in our staff meetings, because we're able to still see each other as people and connect as people and as a group.
And I think that that's kind of what not just NAMI affiliates, but the entire country is facing, that isolation. Well, I appreciate you being here today. That's the end of my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to share with those watching today?
No, just thanks for having us. We really appreciate being talked about how the things that we've done here during COVID, and I have a pretty cool staff to be very proud of.
You definitely do have a fantastic staff, and we thank you for all you do. Hi there. We've made our way from Wood County to Franklin County. We're here today with Rochelle Martin, Executive Director of NAMI Franklin County. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome. So you've told me a little bit about some of these amazing things that you've done through COVID. You've thrived and you've strived through COVID.
That's right, we have.
Do you mind sharing to everyone a little bit about what you've done with Ending the Silence?
Well, Ending the Silence, we have tried to be creative about doing Ending the Silence on Zoom, and we have not been that creative. But the new creation that we came up with is doing Ending the Silence parties with kids and getting peer-led organizations to get their kids to recruit kids to come to our party. We're going to give kids, the kids who do the recruiting, a stipend, and we're going to give the kids that attend a gift card. So we are going to be starting that very soon.
That's fantastic.
So I am so excited about that.
What are some of the outcomes you're hoping to see with more youth involvement?
Well, we want them to get a rich understanding about mental health, mental illness, and suicide. And so we hope that we are able to touch their brains to get them connected in such a way that they understand.
Yes, and as with many of us and everyone watching, we've been isolated for nearly a year.
Yes,
but here we are today enjoying each other's company.
Yes.
So hopefully we're kind of coming out of some of this.
Right, seeing each other for the first time.
Yes, absolutely. So what are some things that you're looking forward to once you come out of COVID, once it's a bit safer?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the staff all in person. I haven't seen them in almost a year. We have our staff meetings on Zoom. We do everything by Zoom. So I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Yes, I know myself. I'm looking forward to a great big NAMI hug.
Right.
I'm sure we all are.
Right.
And tell me a little bit, I mean, through this isolation, you've talked about youth, you've talked a little bit about yourself and your staff. Tell me a little bit about what's made you happy over this last year.
What's made me happy is the fact that the staff still manage to do their jobs from home. And I haven't had to worry about that. They call me when they get in a crunch. They call me for ideas, but they have been outstanding. They are the best.
And not just outstanding. Through this time, they've come up with some phenomenally creative ideas, not only with Ending the Silence, but a plethora of other things that your affiliate's doing. And I'm just so proud to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So one last question I have for you. Let's talk just a minute about self-care.
Well, I haven't done it well. But I will tell you what we do at NAMI is we have invested in a therapist for our staff. And each of our staff go to the therapist. Now, I have not gone as much as I should, but I made the commitment for myself that I need to do that and take that break and not always think that I have to be on for NAMI.
Absolutely.
Take care
and
of
I
it.
hope everyone watching can take a piece of that advice too. Thank you so much for being here today, Rochelle. I appreciate you so much.
All right, thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, it's Angela Duggar again. I'm here with Gloria Walker, Executive Director of NAMI Urban Greater Cincinnati. So appreciate you being here and allowing us to record this video with you. So many times at NAMI, we forget to highlight our smaller affiliates. Our smaller affiliates such as yours. When we say smaller, we don't mean any less important or any less good work. And that's why I asked you to be here today and share with everyone the amazing work that NAMI Urban Greater Cincinnati does. COVID's offered some pretty hard times. And you've triumphed and you've grown through this. Do you mind sharing a little bit about how you've grown?
It's amazing. It amazes me that we are where we are in spite of COVID. We have, in this past year, been able to hire 2 people. We hired Sharon as an assistant. She came on board back in November. And then a couple of weeks ago, we hired Damon. And Sharon, I hope you don't mind me saying a little bit about Sharon. Sharon, you have ADD. Sharon lives with ADD. Her husband lives with schizophrenia. And we hired Damon. And Damon lives, by the way, a Black male who lives with very serious major depression. We've been able to get a few grants. That's the first time. That's the one thing that COVID forced us to do, is to make us begin to realize, oh yeah, we need money.
Yes, you do.
We do need money.
And you've done great things with that. You've regrown your helpline. You're out in the community. I know in the barber shops. And you've been able to hire these fabulous people that not only live with mental illness, they love individuals with mental illness. And as we know at NAMI, it's the peers of family, peers of those living with mental illness is really
and they have
where
a
our family
personal
grows.
understanding when people come to them. So we're really proud of that. We're planning our annual conference. We will hold our annual meeting the month of July.
That's fantastic.
And we do that in honor of B.B. Moore Campbell Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, which most people don't know that exists. So we highlight that by holding these conferences every year. And I think we've gone back, 10 years now?
Make sure that everybody checks out NAMI Urban Greater Cincinnati's annual meeting.
Absolutely.
Because we want to get to know you.
Okay.
Not only just as a NAMI affiliate, but as a person and as a wonderful leader. So, a couple quick questions. We talked about COVID and some of the struggles through COVID. What's actually made you happy this last year?
Survival.
Survival, absolutely.
We survived.
Yeah.
We did close the doors, and coming through that struggle made me happy. I mean, every little step we made.
And what are you looking forward once it's a bit safe? I know we're here without our masks.
Hugging you.
Yes.
I'm
NAMI
hugging
hugs.
people.
Absolutely.
I'm hugging people. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Me too.
I'm
Me
looking
too.
forward to a prosperous year. I'm looking forward to a year when we will really be out in the community and helping people.
Back out there.
We've been doing everything, and this is all new. We learned how to do all of this using Zoom, holding
All those
meetings
virtual
on
platforms.
Zoom. Absolutely. I think all of them. I've been familiar with all of them now.
So real quick, I'm going to interrupt. Last question.
Mhm.
Let's talk about self-care. Just a real quick, brief suggestion either to those who are watching or for yourself. What do you recommend for self-care?
Prior to COVID, I had a real good workout routine. I had a gym that I went to. I had the social group around the gym and all of the people. I miss all of that. I miss all of the people there. Solitude, quiet solitude, giving me a chance to think through things.
Yes, to be mindful and reflective.
To be mindful, to be reflective, and to be grateful.
Absolutely.
I have
Gloria,
to be grateful.
I appreciate you so much. I'm sorry that our time is so short, but I appreciate you sharing not only with me, but with everyone out there. I appreciate you so
Well,
much.
thank you, and thank everyone. I can't brag enough about NAMI and NAMI Ohio and the wonderful things that they've done over the years.
What we have all done, we're a family.
Yeah, we're family.
Hi, I'm Jody Demo-Hodgins, and I work for NAMI Ohio in the Children's Division. Every parent wishes there were an official manual for raising a child. The reality is that parenting is wonderful as well as challenging, and we all need help on that journey. Parents who have a child with a mental health condition may need more support along the way. I'm going to share information with you about 3 programs: Parent Advocacy Connection, or PAC, Youth Move, and Family Peer Support Training. We believe that NAMI programs like PAC make a difference. PAC started because parents of children with mental health conditions asked for help and direction as they navigated services for their children. Often those parents were judged because of their child's behavior. That judgment places the blame for the illness on the parent, and that's just wrong. The basic focus of PAC is to educate, inform, and advocate for parents so they can help their kids. The increase in family involvement that takes place within the system helps equip parents with the skills necessary to speak to the challenges of raising a young person with a mental health condition. Family peer support programs like PAC exist across the country and are considered evidence-based practices. Our new NAMI Family Peer Support Training Program starts with a curriculum that we created and is rooted in NAMI education principles, and it moves those trained through units on how to engage parents, how to communicate effectively, and gives them knowledge about the system of care for children and youth. Parent peer supporters trained through the Family Peer Support Training can support parents at meetings, in their home, and provide help and direction for them. Family peer supporters listen to the whole story without judgment. They find out what the biggest needs are and help the parent work towards addressing those needs for their child. Our training's been approved by Ohio MOS for credentialing in Ohio. Youth Move is another NAMI Ohio Children's Division program, and it's aimed at creating young leaders who can speak to the struggles of having a mental health condition. Many of these young leaders are trained as peer supporters. They address the obstacles of contact during COVID by creating a series of Zoom meetings to help and support others in an effort to reduce isolation. Many of these youth sit on Ohio MOS committees to give voice to their needs and concerns about system barriers. Helen Keller wrote, "Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. When one parent hears from another that they've succeeded in navigating the system, they feel that hope in a distinct way. When one young person supports another to let them know that there is help and things do change, it's different than hearing it from a doctor or a therapist or even a parent." The NAMI Ohio Children's Division is in the business of hope because we believe that education, support, and advocacy are at the root of reducing stigma and creating change. Now I'd like you to welcome Heather Earl. Heather is a parent with lived experience who was able to use PAC services to help her family in their system navigation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Heather Earl, and I'm from Columbiana, Ohio. I have 4 kids, ages 15, 9, 4, and 21 months old. My 9-year-old son, Liam, had a really rough start to his life. He was diagnosed with 2 chronic illnesses during infancy. One of those caused him severe daily physical pain, and the other one caused him to need to be restrained on almost a weekly basis for treatment. He was also physically abused by a non-family member at only 7 months old. What I know now is that the combination of the abuse and the medical issues have caused some early childhood trauma. Around 2 years old, Liam started showing some significant behavior issues. He was removed from 2 daycares, and he was also removed from our public schools preschool. He was also diagnosed as having ADHD and being emotionally disturbed at that time. For kindergarten, he was placed out of district, but they weren't able to work with his behaviors. So for first grade, he was placed in a therapeutic classroom, which has been more equipped to deal with his behaviors. He's also been diagnosed over the years as having post-traumatic stress disorder, conduct disorder, disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and anxiety. Liam and my family have used every possible resource in our county and some neighboring counties. We have voluntary children's services involvement, the support of local police department. We've been involved with the Mental Health Recovery Services Board. We have wraparound services. We're currently doing intensive in-home therapy. We've been involved with the FCFC. Liam has had multiple stays at 2 different mental health facilities, and he also had a 6-month stay at a group home. Unfortunately, we've had very little success with the services that we've utilized. The main thing that has helped is having a parent advocate through NAMI that continuously speaks up and searches for resources and services that would help Liam and our family. Things that have been extremely unhelpful are having people on the board make comments about my mental health and the mental health of my other children. There seems to be no advocating for my other children or myself. And I've developed some pretty significant anxiety and some PTSD from dealing with the trauma that Liam has caused, as well as my 15-year-old. My 4-year-old and my 21-month-old have picked up on the behaviors. Another thing that's been really difficult is that Liam's age has been preventing a lot of options. For example, when we've been told to take him to the emergency department for an evaluation, they give us some resources that we're not able to use due to his age. We've also been told that there are no funds left for Liam, that we've used all of the funds possible, that there are no more resources, so that we just need to continue doing what we're doing. His extreme behaviors have had an astronomical impact on our family. Learning of the Ohio Rise program gives me hope in a time that I feel helpless. It would also be very beneficial for a family with a child like Liam. Having consistent respite, trauma-based therapy, the option to do a long-term mental health-based residential treatment program would be amazing. A lot of times we're told that there's nothing left to do and that we just need to keep moving along. But it's really concerning with how severe his behaviors are and that there's no help for him just strictly because of his age. The Ohio Rise program could be the start of healing and a new beginning. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, my name is Terry. I'm 18 years old. I'm a senior in high school this year. So I'm graduating, which is really exciting. I live in Clermont County. I began experiencing some problems with my mental health around 5th grade, and I ended up developing depression and anxiety, an eating disorder, and then recently I found out that I have ADHD. Now, because of my experiences and all of the help I've received from other people, I'm a huge advocate and support for mental health and really ending the stigma, because I know it affects everyone who has mental illness. And so as I was trying to figure out how to do this, I did a lot of research and found that NAMI was an incredible resource. And I worked together with Katie Sullivan and Heather Smith to do a little bit of volunteering. I began a NAMI Walks campaign at my school, and I did a fundraiser. We got over 40 donations from the staff, which was incredible. And I also have heard a lot about and really am excited about the Ending the Silence campaign that has reached over 4,500 youth alone in Southwest Ohio. And through my experience with NAMI, and I know everyone else who's been involved with NAMI, we've been able to share our stories and reach others and ultimately help them, which is the goal. And after I worked with NAMI, I joined Youth Move and met Miss Angela. And after this, once I was like, oh, Youth Move is awesome, I joined the state council, and this experience has been incredible. I have seen so many new perspectives, not even just about mental illness, but also where people live and how some people live 2 miles away from the nearest person, and I live 30 feet from the nearest person or less. The unique thing about this group is that for me, I've never met anyone I've never met in person, my colleagues. And I think I've still had an incredible experience. We've been able to overcome this and ultimately help a lot of people. We've all been 100% dedicated to working despite the challenges with COVID and being on Zoom and the Zoom fatigue or whatever that people call it. I've been able to bond a lot with the group, and we've finished a lot of really cool projects, and we've helped people across Ohio. We've done care packages, lots of online chats, a couple campaigns. Right now, we're working toward a virtual peer support platform, which is one of our big projects. And I'm really excited by this because I've personally been affected by the amazing people who I've had as peer supporters through this group. And I think it can really help us and others get through this time. I am really looking forward to continuing to work with NAMI and Youth Move as I head toward college. And what is most exciting for me is that through the work with Youth Move and NAMI, I will be able to become a certified peer support specialist and help my community around me for the next 4 years and beyond.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chantel McAdoo. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Akron, Ohio. When I was growing up, my family struggled with a lot of issues. I was placed in foster care. While I was in foster care, I was in many different placements throughout Georgia. When I was 6, I was separated from my siblings and sent back to Ohio to live with family members. And at the age of 16, I was placed back with my mother. This endless cycle of separation, confusion, and rejection, along with the constant instability, left me very lonely, angry, and depressed. I felt I had no voice or control of my situation, so I began to act out. This led to me being put in a juvenile justice program at Safe Landing in Akron, Ohio. The main thing that helped me become stable was my faith. Building a strong support group through my church helped me. My connections also led me to meet Jerron. Many of you have known Jerron through his advocacy. Jerron was also a foster youth and a leader in the Youth Empowerment Program and Youth Move Ohio. Jerron and I became friends over 3 years and eventually decided to get married in November of 2019. So together with his sweet 5-year-old son, Jeremiah, we started our family. Jerron also suffered from sickle cell anemia. He remained a strong leader even when he was sick and was an inspiration to me to find my voice. He believed that I could be a leader for other youth. I had never thought that way before. At that time, Jerron introduced me to the Youth Move and NAMI during a NAMI Walk event in Akron, Ohio. Unfortunately, the pandemic started, and by spring of 2020, Jerron's sickle cell became much worse. It was getting too much for him to bear. After several hospitalizations, he passed away on June 4th, just after his 27th birthday. Jerron's illness was a hard time for both of us. The things that helped support us was our faith and the amazing amount of support we received from our peers in Youth Move. Youth Move peer leaders stepped up and made sure that Jerron and I had access to our peers whenever we needed. They even held up pop-up Zoom visitation parties to help uplift Jerron's spirit in his final months and filling his life with purpose despite the pandemic and supporting him right until the day he passed. Despite all I had been through in my life, this was the hardest, and I am so grateful for the support I had from NAMI and Youth Move at this time. NAMI created a fund to help me with funeral expenses, and Angela came and helped me through the funeral. Because of the pandemic, his NAMI family unfortunately could not attend, but many youth participated through Facebook Live and other virtual events. In the months after, I faced a Great Depression. Youth Move opened an entire state of support for me. They opened up Zoom to help support me whenever I needed it. I was also given the role as a summer Zoom facilitator and co-leader for the Northeast region. Before January of 2020, when Jerron first introduced me to Youth Move, I had never seen myself as a leader or as a person who could help influence others. I have learned a lot through my peers and have been lifted up to see my own potential that I had never seen before Jerron and I met. Youth peers and peer support was critical to my success and mental wellness this past year. Peers not only help us see our potential, but also our resilience. We have many shared experiences and some unique, but we understand one another. Having peer support has made all the difference in my life, especially through COVID-19 and my personal loss. These opportunities helped me stay focused on my personal goals and feel like I was not alone. I continue to work with NAMI and Youth Move Ohio so I can pay it forward to other youth and use my experience to inspire you to incorporate peer leaders and supporters into your programs. Thank you for hearing me today.
Caring for people in adult care facilities is all about the same things that matter to you and me. In fact, it has become more than just about feeding them physically, because many of them are starving to be nourished with love, respect, and to be given hope in what seems to be a hopeless time for them. For many, their families are gone. It is a pattern they have seen over and over in their lives, people giving up on them. Adult care facilities give these people a place to call home, and our staff and the people they live with are their families. Like any family, there are challenges and frustrations. However, these homes have enhanced their quality of life, and for many, For the first time, they have felt valuable and cherished. Where would they be without these homes? Without support, I tremble at the thought of where they would be. Many have come to us from jail, homeless on the streets, or living under a bridge. And because of this, their health tends to decline and many pass away prematurely. They struggle with co-occurring health issues that many times cannot be reversed. I have been working with the mentally ill for 25 years, and never before have we had the struggles that this pandemic has brought. Fear and isolation has been at an all-time high for them. Life changed as they knew it. They stopped living life. We were on a lockdown for many months. No outings, shopping, going out to get a bite to eat, and worse yet, no family or friend visitations. We are all praying that we can return to normalcy soon. Due to the help of NAMI Ohio and others, all of our clients have become the first to be vaccinated. Without their support, this would have never happened. We are starting to make small strides toward getting back to normalcy, such as going to the activity center, interacting in small groups, and going outside to enjoy nature with one another. We are excited to have the governor's support with the budget being increased to enhance the quality of life that we provide. We value anything that helps us work with these precious individuals. Our staff have been working tirelessly while stressed to keep the quality of care going during this pandemic. It is important for them to know how much people care. I salute these essential care workers for the tremendous job they have done. That these are not just residential homes. They are the homes that love built. These are the people that we call family and we call friends. I have my friend here, Debbie Briggs. Debbie, how did this pandemic affect you in your illness?
Well, I was so afraid, and it made my symptoms become worse. I felt more paranoid and started having more hallucinations. I was totally stressed out.
Thank you for that, Debbie. So what made it better for you?
Well, the support and a lot from the staff, really. We got educated about what to do, and then they told us that we get through this, and we are. I couldn't have made it without them.
Thank you so much for that, Debbie. I really appreciate it. Can I say that these are not just residential homes? They are the homes that love built. These are the people that we call family and we call friends.
Hi, my name is Karen. I live in Seattle and I have a sister in Columbus who has mental and physical disabilities. Laurel has schizoaffective disorder with paranoia. She's blind and she's oxygen dependent. She has kidney disease and no teeth. Her world is very small. Some of her physical disabilities are the result of the process she went through in the mental health system with inadequate self-care and results of medication. She is completely dependent on her caregiver, and their living situation became increasingly precarious over time. Her partnered caregiver has his own challenges. He lives with schizophrenia. Both were giving signals that more help was needed and then refusing help when it was offered. They could not engage in safety planning and feared all outside influence as a threat. Like everyone else, they want some control over their lives. They have a very small voice in this world, and isolation gives them some autonomy. I think they fear change, but it's impossible for me to really understand what their lives are like, and difficult to know how to be a good sister to somebody whose world is so different from mine. I just try to do my best. Last spring, I saw enough warning signs and decided to intervene. Interfering in their lives was a brutal choice which I had resisted for many years. I tried going through the mental health agency where Laurel has a caseworker. A wellness check was promised, and I have no HIPAA rights, so I can only assume she met the minimum requirements for making her own decisions and refused any additional services. So nothing changed. Over the summer, things got worse for Laurel. Her partner's sister lives in Columbus and helps them with groceries and other things. She and I stay in touch. She realized that Laurel was left in bed for much of the day and saw signs of her being neglected and over-controlled by her partner. Leaving her in bed was easier for him and reduced her risk of falling, and controlling her access to the outside world protected their autonomy. Both he and Laurel were giving more frequent signals of distress, but always with equivocation. Laurel would sneak in a call to the mobile crisis team and turn them away when they arrived. He would say he cannot take care of her, but deny his concerns if an alternative was presented. During our phone calls, she was expressing more frequent suicidal thoughts. Her isolation put her at great risk. A few months after my attempt, I decided to try again. I live a long way from Ohio, and I had to do this by myself. Coronavirus was in full force. I still had no HIPAA rights, and I did not know where to start, but I know about NAMI. I remember the day I called the helpline and Jody Demo Hodkins answered the phone. I finally had an advocate who knew what I should do. She taught me how the mental health system works and advised me to write to agencies in Franklin County, including the Adam H. Board, Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services, and NetCare. She listened and understood me as few people do. She facilitated a process on her home turf that I could not have managed without her help. To her job at NAMI, Jody brings a lifetime of experience in mental health social work and advocacy in various capacities. She also has personal experience as a guardian of her own sister who had mental illness and addiction. She brought all of her wisdom and compassion to my aid. I used her local contacts when I sent emails. She interpreted responses for me with professional insights I did not have. She provided me with the next step every time I hit a barrier. Jody knew when to say the serenity prayer and when to keep pushing, sometimes both at once. She listened to my every concern and validated my feelings. She had compassion for Laurel as well and could imagine things from her perspective. She understood the obstacles I was facing in every direction I turned. Progress was slow and rocky. I gave up again. Then Laurel fell and broke her foot because she was too weak to walk. I heard about this, and when I learned that she received no medical treatment, Jody was informed. She saw this as a clear sign to initiate probate action through NetCare. Laurel was taken to a hospital where her physical and mental health was assessed. She had a court hearing, and it was determined that she should not return to where she was living. She needed a guardian. I applied, and of course, Jody is helping me step through the guardianship process. NAMI is a place where individuals and families can be heard. They educate and advocate for people whose loved ones have mental illness. NAMI helps people navigate a very complex and frustrating mental health system and provides resources for families that are difficult to find anywhere else. They are a life raft for people in my situation. NAMI helps to keep agencies accountable as they interpret and uphold the laws pertaining to mental illness. It is a place where people understand what it's like to have a family member with mental illness. It is a place where people are receptive when you open up about things that most of society wants to ignore. Many people with mental illness are homeless. They are in prisons. They are in the shadows of our society. They are misunderstood and undervalued. They are hopeless and helpless. They are unseen. NAMI helps to shed light on this reality, to educate the communities in which they serve, and to acknowledge what this reality means to families who are defined by it. I work as a volunteer phone worker on a crisis line in Seattle, and I look for every opportunity to connect people with our local NAMI. I always hope they will receive the kind of help I was given when I called NAMI Ohio. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Donna Heck. I'm from Mansfield, Ohio, And I first became aware of NAMI back in the year 2000 when my then 15-year-old daughter attempted to take her life. We're in the Richland County area, and Mary Kay Pierce, who's the executive director here in NAMI Richland County, was incredible. She was a tremendous support. She helped us guide the mental health maze that those of us who have lost somebody or who have struggled with mental health know that it's a maze that's just kind of tough to go through. She was tremendous. We made it quite a long time with Danielle, but in February of 19, she lost her battle to depression. She was 33 years old, and that began our journey to look at mental health, look at suicide, and look at ways that we could help make a difference in the mental health community in the world and save lives. So I ended up joining the NAMI Ohio Board of Directors in June of 2020. That was right after the pandemic started, and I have yet to be in an in-person meeting as part of NAMI Ohio. With the summer and the springtime and all the shutdowns with COVID-19, the pandemic was causing such global shutdowns. The levels of isolation were just tremendous. No one imagined what we would be going through with our mental health, but NAMI, of course, they jumped into action. Our organization got very creative and found ways to continue providing help and support for those that were suffering from mental health in the community. As Angela spoke about earlier, all our NAMI affiliates began holding their support groups virtually. They had programs and classes online. They were recorded and turned into webinars. There were new social media accounts created, and most importantly, all of us at NAMI worked together to ensure that anybody seeking help in the mental illness had resources to turn to. At the same time, the NAMI Ohio Board of Directors began planning for a statewide marketing campaign with the goal to help raise awareness of who the NAMI organization is and what services and supports we provide to individuals and families living with mental illness. So today, as part of the NAMI Ohio Board, I'm proud to introduce our new campaign. It's called NAMI, We Get It. It began in April. We had meetings. An entire group of us had a committee, and I've had some background in advertising, and some of the others had some tremendous ideas, and we put together this campaign. And so we are set to begin in May of 2021, a marketing campaign that's going to focus on NAMI and the fact that we are a family and peer-led organization comprised of individuals with real-life experiences and mental illnesses that have been challenging in the mental health system. So we have this campaign. It's going to be implemented across the entire state of Ohio over the next few months. We're going to combine various methods of communication. It's going to be including digital, social advertising. We're going to have search engine marketing, videos, billboards, printed materials, and even community projects. Resources and campaign materials for those of you who are interested, and I'd really ask that you do reach out to the NAMI Ohio website and see what we're going to be doing at www.namiohio.org. We encourage everyone watching today, all the NAMI members, all the supporters and friends, to please share our message so that anyone living with or caring for someone with mental illness knows where to find help. One of the greatest strengths of NAMI is the power of connection. Our staff and volunteers share their personal stories and experiences in order to help others to improve the quality of care available to anybody with a mental health illness. As family members and peers, we all know how it feels to be hopeless, to be overwhelmed by the system, to not know where to go next, and to feel completely lost and alone. During those times, NAMI is here for you. NAMI, we get it.
We're so pleased here to be in Cleveland, Ohio today to give NAMI Ohio's most prestigious award, the Herb Reisenfeld Hall of Fame. Before I start, I'd like to introduce some people. We have here Chris McNona, who's the Executive Director of the Greater Cleveland NAMI. We have Lavelle Custer, who is the first Vice President, incoming will be the next President of NAMI Ohio. We have Lori D'Angelo, been on our board for a number of years and very special. And then we have Dr. Mackenzie Barcola, child psychiatrist here in Cleveland, and gives our board that extra information every time we talk about kids' mental health. Herb Reisenfeld was a businessman from Cincinnati, Ohio, and was one of the founders of NAMI Ohio. He was also a founding member of the National NAMI Board of Directors on the first board. In 1998, NAMI Ohio was struggling financially. Herb donated a significant amount of money to NAMI Ohio so we could continue our operations. Herb was a unique individual, and he was the heart of the family movement. In the year 2000, NAMI Ohio created the Herb Reisenfeld Hall of Fame, with Herb being the first inductee. The picture hanging on all the pictures are hanging on the walls as you enter NAMI Ohio. Since 2000, we have had 12 other NAMI heroes inducted into the Hall of Fame. The award is our most prestigious award, as I've said. This year's recipient are Senator Bob and Mary Spada from here in Cleveland. Bob was a leader in the state Senate and was the Senate champion when we passed the historic mental health parity legislation. Mary has worked tirelessly here in Cuyahoga County and is also an active participant at every board meeting for the past 12 years. Bob served as the NAMI Ohio president and spent 3 years in the National NAMI board as the finance chairman. All of the NAMI board of directors recognize that Bob and Mary Spada are two people that have made NAMI Ohio what it is today. More important, and this is so important for everybody in the NAMI movement, Bob and Mary have stayed strong and are major reasons that their loved one is in recovery from mental illness today. Bob and Mary, on behalf of NAMI Ohio Board of Directors, the staff, the affiliates all over the state, 500,000 citizens of Ohio, we want to congratulate you for being inducted into the esteemed group of the NAMI, the Herb Reisenfeld Hall of Fame. Would you like to say something, Ricky?
I do want to thank many people. It's been a journey and it's been a struggle. I first want to mention two people that I was very fond of and still am, and that's Carol and Michelle that worked with me in the Ohio Senate. They were the ones that got the phone call that helped me on our road. And by the time I got back to Cleveland with my son, we had a meeting with Dr. Delgado at University Hospital. He's the director of psychiatry at University Hospital in Case Western Reserve. After that step, I can remember sitting in his office with my son that first day, and my son started to cry and said, "Do I have to take these pills the rest of my life?" And then he and I both started crying when Dr. Delgado said yes. The next step that I strongly remember was when a friend came to my office to meet with Mary and I. And that was Terry Russell. God bless Terry Russell. He and the NAMI Ohio staff have been just fabulous people in our lives, and we really appreciated all their kindness and considerations. Obviously, I want to step back many more years and thank a couple people who I never met. I want to thank Harriet Shelter and Beverly Young. They were the ones in 1977 that got together and the two of them had lunch. A couple weeks later, they had a group of 13 together. Within a year or so, they had the first national convention. At that time, it was called the Alliance on Mental Illness. And obviously that has changed some over the years. Besides those folks I've already mentioned, I do want to thank Dr. Joyce Berlin. She was the one who wrote the manual for Family to Family. Family to Family program we took and we taught, and it's probably the best thing for families and those who are dealt with this issue for their families and friends. And it's probably the thing that I'm missing most at this time that NAMI's not doing. Because of COVID, COVID is the devil's work, I think, because we can't help people. It's not the same if you don't have personal contact with people. People need to know how you feel and how you act and what your interactions are. A couple other people who I was really greatly fond of, Dr. Fred Fries. He was on our NAMI Ohio board, and we got to be very good friends. Thanks to the NAMI Ohio board, the NAMI National board, and all those people I worked with. And I think it's Mary's turn to say a few words.
I'll get more local, and thanks to all the people who we worked with at NAMI Greater Cleveland, and Michael Bascom, Liz Hall, Ellen Reed, Jerry Miller, and Carrie Kepnick. They all had the lived experience, and I don't know how many times I talked to them. They were so helpful and so caring. And then other people at NAMI Greater Cleveland, Bridget, Lisa, and Marcia, I didn't have that same contact with them as far as the lived experience, but they were great friends. And thank you to Christine. We haven't had much opportunity to work together yet, thanks to COVID, but I'm sure she's going to be doing a wonderful job too. There were super volunteers that became great friends from NAMI Greater Cleveland. Gay Langto, Sakina Francis, Mike Dussault, Chris Young, Kathleen Stock, and of course Lavelle, who was president when I first joined the NAMI board. We have taught about 5 times. We've taught family to family, and it is the greatest program that there is. And I'm hoping that we can do it again. So thank you to all.
I have one final comment, and that is all of us have become friends. And as Terry knows, I always say friends help friends. And when the NAMI organization gets to be your friend, you really have a very, very true friend. And God bless all of the folks we've had interactions with.
I think you can see just by the comments, I'm going to get emotional here, of why they're being inducted into the Herbert Rising Hall of Fame. I also want to mention today, we're at the Magnolia Clubhouse in Cleveland. Lori D'Angelo is the executive director there. And let me say this, we need these programs all over the state, and the state budget is going to provide some funds to expand these programs all over the state so people have a place to go. And again, Bob and Mary, I've done this now for every inductee, and I really believe today is most special for me because I've watched them in person. Thank you so much. God bless. Oh, you want to say something, Lori?
I just want to add, I want to thank Bob Stata. Without his help, we would not have the facilities that you see today. He was instrumental in us getting capital funding from the state government, and that was enormous. Twice. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hi again, I'm Angela Duggar. I'm here at NAMI Summit County with Dr. Smith and our dual executive directors, Leslie Stoyer and Ron Rett. We're here today to present them with a well-deserved honor of Affiliate of the Year. Through COVID, very well-deserved, of course, but through COVID, it has been a struggle for everyone, from maintaining programs and support while learning new platforms, such as Zoom. You've made it work. You guys have absolutely made it work. And not only have they made it work, they have not only survived, they have thrived through COVID. Not only maintaining programs, but expanding programs such as NAMI signature programs like Family to Family, offering that virtually, and expanding those services not even to your own area, but allowing other affiliates to join. So thank you very much for not only running our NAMI signature programs, enhancing their advocacy efforts, as well as non-NAMI programs such as the Needy Souls program, Shoeing the Shoeless, and various other programs that you have. But thank you so much. Dr. Smith?
Wonderful. Yes, I'm thrilled to be here with both of you today. So on behalf of Terry Russell and the staff and the Board of Trustees of NAMI Ohio, I'm very thrilled to give you this beautiful piece representing you are the Affiliate of the Year awardees for 2021. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Thank you. We were privileged to do this work. We're always privileged to do this work and be here for people that need support, education, and advocacy.
Absolutely.
We truly enjoy helping the clients and the families for NAMI County.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here today with Chris Wireman, a NAMI Ohio board member from Toledo, Ohio, and Robin Eisenberg, the director of the Toledo NAMI. And they're here because they live every day in this community. I want to thank the people behind here. We're going to turn this over to Scott to introduce the people from his board, and then I'll give a presentation of why we're doing this award to this very special group.
Hello, I'm Scott Silik, Executive Director of the Mental Health Recovery Services Board here in Lucas County. And we have with us today Senna Friedman, who is our Vice Chair of the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, Jim Stengel, our Chair of the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, Dr. Michael Carter, our Manager of Community Engagement and Client Rights, Charlotta Slaughter, our Manager of Support Services, and Miss Amy Priest, our Director of Programs and Services.
Thank you, Scott. Today, we want to recognize our mental health heroes. Sometimes NAMI Ohio is critical of the mental health system, but never the people that work in the system. And we're especially proud to be here today to recognize the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lucas County as a recipient of this year's 2021 ADMH Board of the Year Award. During the COVID pandemic, those living with mental illness have been devastated, absolutely devastated, due to isolation and the inability to access services that they so desperately need. During this terrible pandemic, the Mental Health and Recovery Board here in Lucas County responded when NAMI Ohio called. I never had to worry. If someone needed help here, the board would go get that help. The board also helped in the pandemic, providing the distribution of personal protective equipment in our adult care facilities all through this community. All these homes were very high risk of spreading COVID, and they needed the gloves and the mask and the sanitizers, and this board was the best in providing those services throughout the state. Since the closure of the state hospitals in 1988, there has been a tremendous change in the way people receive psychiatric inpatient care. The stays are much shorter, and this sometimes leads to crisis situations for individuals and their families. Working with the Lucas County Board and the State Hospital here in Toledo, they are planning to open up a mental health rehabilitation center, so like many other illnesses that already have those rehabilitation centers. People can go to this center for up to 90 days or longer and be restored to health when they re-enter the community. I would now like to present, as the people up here that participated in the distribution and all of this, and present you with the ADMH Board Year of Award for Mental Health and Recovery Service Board of Lucas County for their tremendous commitment to the citizens of Lucas County living with mental illness. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you to NAMI Ohio for this prestigious and beautiful award. We stand here as two of many people that work behind the scenes in our organization to do great work for the people in our community who need advocacy and support. And we would just like to say thank you for this beautiful award.
I mimic what Michael said.
Thank you. That concludes our presentation today. Again, we cannot thank this group of people back here any more than saying, God bless you for what you do every day. Thank you.
So welcome to Wood County. We are in Bowling Green, Ohio. I'm Jessica Hartman, the Executive Director of NAMI Wood County. We have Luke Russell, the Deputy Director of NAMI Ohio, Senator Gavarone, and Bree Snow. She is the AOT Family and Client Advocate here at NAMI Wood County.
And thank you, Jessica. And I want to thank Namiwood County for their hospitality and commitment to individuals with impacted by mental illness. Jessica Schmidt is not only the executive director at Namiwood County, she's also on the board of directors of NAMI Ohio. She's a dedicated advocate and helps out with CIT, mental health first aid, and she's also a member of the Ohio Suicide Prevention Board. And now NAMI Ohio and Namiwood County would like to present the 2021 NAMI Ohio Legislator of the Year Award to Senator Teresa Gavarone. In my first 10 months with NAMI Ohio, several legislative issues have impacted those with mental illness in regards to housing, crisis, medication, and treatment. During these times, Senator Gavarone, on every occasion, has taken our calls, listened to our issues, and suggested ways for improvement. She has become not only the elected official of Erie, Ottawa, Wood, and parts of Fulton and Lucas County, but an advocate and champion for those with mental illness throughout Ohio. We know she is committed to the needs of the individuals and families, and in our world, what we say is, she gets it. As a resident of Wood County for 35 years, and has extensive experience here serving on the Bowling Green City Council, she's also a graduate of the Bowling Green State University, and also has a law degree from the University of Toledo. In addition to her public service, Senator Gavarone, I learned, is also a small business owner, owns Mr. Spot's restaurant with her husband, Jim, and I just may have to stop by there on the way home. Specifically today, though, we want to thank Senator Gavarone for over the past 2 years on Senate Bill 2, which will free up critically needed state psychiatric hospital beds to better serve people who need them the most, those suffering from the most severe types of mental illness. So they will have access to treatment only available in some of these state hospitals. The aim is to increase access to state psychiatric hospital beds by providing authority for courts to pursue alternatives to sending people charged with non-violent misdemeanors to these facilities to be restored to competency rather than sending them to jail. The legislation requires judges in criminal cases in which an individual's competency to stand trial is in question to pursue the least restrictive means. For competency restoration, they'll also take into account the available resources and the public safety. In addition to today's honor, her leadership on mental health and substance use issues resulted in being named Legislator of the Year by the Ohio Association of County Behavioral Health Authorities and receiving the Public Service Award from the Ohio Psychological Association. And now we'd like to recognize Senator Gavarone for her dedication to the severely mentally disabled. Legislator of the Year 2021, Senator Gavarone.
Thank you so much. This is absolutely beautiful. This award has such special meaning for me, and it's just an incredible honor to receive this from NAMI Ohio. Working with the mentally ill and breaking down those barriers and creating greater access to care for those with mental illness and those in addiction and recovery has been one of my big drivers from day one. Honestly, it's the reason I sought office in Columbus. And so to receive this award is just truly humbling. And the work on Senate Bill 2 is just a small piece in a much bigger puzzle. Mm-hmm. And I look forward to continuing to work with NAMI to create greater access and further break down those barriers. It's just so important for all those suffering from mental illness and for Ohio moving forward. So thank you for all the good work you do. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for this award. It has so much meaning for me.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm down here in Cincinnati with Darryl Lumpkin and the adult care facility here in Cincinnati, Ohio. NAMI Ohio 20 years ago found that the people who are severely mentally disabled often are put into adult care facilities, 800 of them throughout the state. And some of them were not the standard that we believe these clients deserve. So we created the Ohio Adult Care Facility Association and worked diligently trying to get them more funding, trying to find the good operators and put clients in those homes and find the bad operators and closing those homes. But what I've found is there are special people. I've worked in this business 49 years, and the best people I've ever met are adult care facility operators. Some of the worst people I've ever met are adult care operators. But today I'm with somebody that's been with me for the whole journey, 20 years. And when I need something down here, I call Daryl. When the COVID, which really devastated adult care facilities, keeping people in their homes 24 hours a day, I called Daryl and I said, I've got some PPE, some protective equipment. And he said, just drop them off my house and I'll get them delivered all through this city. I can't say enough about Daryl Lumpkin. Daryl Lumpkin is one of the best people I know, but what he does for these gentlemen that he has here in this home is God's work. And I am so happy that the board of directors of NAMI Ohio has selected Daryl as our ACF Operator of the Year. Congratulations, Daryl.
Thank you.
You want to say a few words?
Yes, I'd like to especially thank Terry Russell, but more importantly, his staff. During this ridiculous, crazy year, we were lucky to get this far, but for the grace of God, Terry stepped in and was able to work with the director of the Ohio Department of Mental Health, and they came to our rescue. We were first begging from churches, but when Terry them came through, that ceased. And we're still being cautious. We're able to get our shots. And again, I want to thank NAMI of Ohio, as well as the Department of Mental Health, for this award. And thank you so much. This means a lot to me, very much.
Hi, we're in Columbus, Ohio this morning to recognize a very special organization. NAMI Ohio represents 500,000 families and those living with mental illness here in this state. We try to advocate and educate and support anybody we can, but it would not be possible if it wasn't for the dedication of all the people that work in the mental health system. We just can't tell everyone. I want to say to everyone, NAMI Ohio thanks you from the bottom of our heart for all you do every day. Sometimes we're a little critical, but we're critical to make it better. But we're never critical of the individuals. Your dedication make you the heroes of NAMI Ohio. With that said, we each year give an award to an agency that provides care, and today that's going to be NetCare Access here in Columbus. I have Rochelle Martin, the Executive Director of NAMI Franklin County, with me today to help put together this award. With that said, NAMI Ohio gets calls every day from people all over the state of Ohio asking for help. When we get a call from Columbus, and we get some from Columbus that are very difficult, I can call Access and I know they're going to respond. It's happened time and time again. This pandemic has been tremendously hard on the families and those living with mental illness in this community. And I know that NetCare is there, and when I call, we get response. So on behalf of NAMI Ohio's Board of Directors, our staff, the 500,000 citizens, all of our affiliates, we want to recognize NetCare with recognizing NetCare Access for their dedication to severely mentally disabled, Mental Health Provider of the Year.
On behalf of the NetCare Board of Directors and staff, we're honored to receive this award, and we appreciate our long working relationship with both NAMI Ohio and NAMI Franklin County. NetCare was established in 1995 by the Franklin County Adam H. Board as the Crisis Center for Mental Health and Substance Use Disorders. In over 26 years of operating on a 24/7 basis, no one is turned away due to inability to pay, and those in crisis are offered a sanctuary of safety where they can be stabilized and returned home or be linked to appropriate levels of care. Dr. Pablo Hernandez has been our medical director and led our clinical team, consisting of Michelle Perry, Carrie Wyrick, and Greg Blankenship, to develop a pathway, a trauma-informed pathway, where the clinical team serves, on average, 10,000 patients per year. Dr. Brian Stroh has been our medical director, assistant medical director for the past 15 years, and he's going to take over as CEO and medical director May 1st, following my retirement. Again, We are thankful to NAMI Ohio and NAMI Franklin County for this distinct honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kay. Again, you're our heroes. God bless you for everything you did.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Michelle.
Hello, I'm here today at the Adam Amanda Rehabilitation Center to recognize a very special person. Before I do that, I'd like to introduce Tina Trimmer from NAMI Athens, Ann Walker, a member of the NAMI Ohio Board of Directors. I'm going to ask Margaret to introduce her guest.
This is David Schenkelberg. He's the Chief Clinical Officer of Hopewell Health Centers. Diane Pfaff of the Athens Hockey Vinton 317 Board, and Greg Polzer of NAMI Athens, Ohio
317?
and 317 Board.
3 years ago, NAMI Ohio, in partners with the Athens Hockey Vinton 317 Board and Hopewell, made a dream come true by opening the Adam Amanda Mental Health Rehabilitation Center. This building is named after two young people whose stay at a state hospital was too short and lost their lives to suicide. The intent of this facility was to make sure that people living in the hospitals or leaving the hospitals in Southeast Ohio had a place to go for a longer stay until they were ready to come back into the community. This is a tough job, 24 hours, 7 days a week of residential care. It's become more difficult and unbelievable difficult with the COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, staff members of this agency came down with COVID, and their director, Margaret Sterling, stayed at this facility for up to 2.5 weeks, stayed here, and put herself at risk to keep this facility open. Margaret has been the director of this program since it started and continues to operate not only this facility, but a new 16-bed adult care facility over in the Plains. NAMI Ohio can't thank everybody that works in the mental health system. We want to thank you as our heroes for serving our loved ones. But there is a special person today we would like to recognize. The NAMI Ohio Board of Directors is pleased to present the Mental Health Champion Award to Margaret Sterling. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Terry. And I would not have been able to be honored with this position or with this award if not for just being able to be doing the work that I'm doing within the field of mental health. I've been with Hopewell for 17 years now, and this pandemic has really put everybody through the ringer, and all of the outpatient, inpatient, and residential facilities within the state and across the nation and internationally. We did have individuals come down with COVID. We had people on quarantine, and we got to the point where in trying to figure out how to make things work, we did what needed to be done. And that was difficult for me. It was difficult for everybody that works here, for everybody that had to watch what we were doing and the sacrifices that we were going through to be here and take care of people the way that they need to be taken care of. We want everybody to feel like they're being treated as if they were family. And I will continue to work for the rest of my career and the rest of my life to ensure that the people that I'm working with feel like family and are being treated the way I would want my family to be treated. And I appreciate all of the support that I've received from Hopewell Health Centers, from the 317 Board, from NAMI, from friends, family, and mentors, and from the community. And it's just overwhelming to be honored with this award today and to be able to continue to do the work that I really, really love doing. So thank you so much.
Margaret, I think it's also important for the people watching this show today. This is our first mental health rehabilitation center, but we're working right now in Toledo. We're talking to people in Dayton and Akron, and we're going to have 10 of these facilities in the next 10 years, and Margaret's a big part of why that happened. Congratulations. Thank you. I am so happy to be here today to give out the Directors Award. The NAMI Ohio Board of Directors gives me the opportunity once a year to give someone who is so special to the mental health system an award. And today, this is a special award because it's somebody who I have known since the day I took over the job at NAMI Ohio 21 years ago, who has worked tirelessly in trying to help the people here in Franklin County. I'm so proud to be also with Rochelle Martin from the NAMI Franklin County. I'm going to have Rochelle say a few words.
Good afternoon. It is my honor and pleasure to be with Terry today as he gives this award to Ingrid, who has been my mentor for many years. She coined the phrase NAMI Mommies. We coined it after her because she has been so dedicated to teaching me and providing NAMI Franklin County with all the help and advocacy work that she does.
I will say that Ingrid has stayed by her loved one for all these years. And it's so meaningful for me with all the members, the 500,000 Ohio citizens, that mothers stand up, fathers stand up, and here's a model. I'm very happy to present the Ingrid Sylvian for her dedication to the severely mentally disabled Directors Award 2021. Ingrid.
Oh, thank you, Terry. I love it. So this award is due and dedicated from me to all the NAMI mommies who are lucky enough to be this Franklin County NAMI, because NAMI of Franklin County for me was a lifesaver. I have spent many, many, many years in the trenches with anosognosia, which is a severe neurological brain disease whereby patients do not know they're mentally ill, which complicates treatment, relationships, and so forth. And Rochelle was always by my side as a friend, and for the last 10 years, whenever there was a crisis, she was right there. And she is there for all the NAMI mommies whenever they need help, 24/7. She is an outstanding leader, a friend, and compassionate person for all NAMI mommies. So please accept for the NAMI mommies this award. And I thank you very much, Terry. My honor to have this.
Ingrid is a young 91 years old, and she gets around like you can't believe. We all love her at the NAMI. She's one of our best. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, thank you.
I'm Judge Joyce Campbell, President of the NAMI Ohio Board of Directors. On behalf of my fellow board members and staff, I want to thank each of you for participating in this unique annual meeting. As a municipal court judge here in Butler County, Ohio, every day I see the devastating impact of untreated mental illness. That, along with some personal experiences, brought me to NAMI Ohio. I want to make a difference just like you. Over 20 years ago, a young woman with untreated mental illness was in my community and became involved with the criminal justice system and resulted in the death of one of her coworkers. It lit a fire in me. I knew there had to be a better way. And as a result, over 20 years ago, we developed, along with our partners at NAMI, we developed a mental health court. It has been in operation since the year 2000. It is a specialized certified docket by the Supreme Court of Ohio. And every Monday morning at 11 o'clock, we have our specialized docket. And every morning at 11 o'clock, my friends from NAMI, Butler County, are here to help the families, to help the defendants, to help those that are struggling to get out of the criminal justice system and get the assistance that they so desperately need. As we leave this meeting today, let us not forget the personal stories told by Tamisha, the young families and their struggles and the need for our help. Our crusade, and it is a crusade, is to help all Ohio citizens that live this life every day. I cannot think of a better tribute to those special families who presented today than to let everyone know at the legislature, the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the local ADAMH boards, and all mental health providers know that there are thousands of citizens needing more help than what is currently available or provided. I just wish each of you had the opportunity to sit with me in one of our weekend board meetings at NAMI Ohio so that you could truly see the 28-member board of directors who give of their time and their talent and their treasure to develop platforms for our advocacy, education, and support groups. We don't deal in minutia, and we don't have meetings just to have meetings. At the end of every meeting, which unfortunately I cry at every meeting, I have felt that NAMI Ohio works, and NAMI Ohio is saving lives. For the past 3 years, I have had the honor and privilege of being elected to the NAMI National Board of Directors. Serving on that board has offered me the opportunity to see NAMI work throughout our great nation. I am so proud to be able to spread the word of all the different programs offered here in Ohio. Our programs have and should be duplicated throughout the entire country. As I have often said, living with a mental illness or supporting individuals that live with a mental illness gives you a different perspective of life. We are not always right, but there is no question that the voice of the citizens of this state and across the nation dealing with this very mean illness must be heard. I want to thank everyone who presented today. I thank Governor DeWine, Dan Gillison, and Director Chris for their very kind words. I ask that everyone watching this annual meeting go to NAMI Ohio's website and join our organization so that our grassroots advocacy becomes stronger each day with more and more caring individuals becoming involved. I want to congratulate all the award recipients, and especially my good friends Bob and Mary Spada for being inducted into the Herb Reisenfeld Hall of Fame. There are no more too deserving people in this entire world. They are both heroes of NAMI and the NAMI movement and personal heroes of mine. This concludes our meeting today. Thank you so much for your participation. Goodbye and God bless.